about 20 years ago, when the United States was closing a lot of its industry, especially like in the aerospace. I was in Los Angeles and the aerospace companies were closing up. And some of this, they were going out of business. Aerospace was kind of down at some point. However, some of it, these companies were just outdated and they needed new equipment. And I would go to these auctions and I'd buy up some of the stuff. And a lot of it was from my own shop. And, I'd sell off some of the stuff I didn't need. But what was interesting is we would have a lot of Chinese buyers there. And they would be buying up all this equipment, everything from CNC machines to, just more basic drill presses and manual lathes and mills. And they would take all this equipment and they would send it back to China. And that is kind of how they really got things going, because 20 years ago, they didn't necessarily have all the money to go buy a bunch of brand new Haas mills, and they didn't really have much of a domestic machinery industry going at the time. I mean, they were still in kind of like the low to mid-level manufacturing tiers, and they needed kind of whatever they could get to manufacture. Now, fast forward 20 years from now, they pretty much bought up everything we have, and they bought up a bunch of stuff out of Europe, and they now have a full-on, domestic manufacturing system to build equipment. And maybe their stuff isn't to the level of precision that ours is, or that, German machines are. However, they do import a lot of material or a lot of components, such as bearings and ball screws and, some electronics. And they integrate these into domestically made machines. And the machines are good enough for, 90% of everything that needs to be made. And they'll import, they'll import like Japanese or German or American machines when they need to do higher end work.